Hello beautiful people, here's a review of the German SPAAG, the Zerstörer 45 from the Alpha Strike update. Hope you enjoy. Let's go straight to some pros and cons. Some of the pros: armament. The quad 30mm autocannons on this vehicle are the Mk103s. This type of cannon is also found on the Flakpanzerkugelblitz, fighter and strike aircraft, and I believe one ship. The cannons are capable of firing 450 rounds per minute. The ammunition available for firing are high explosive shells, regular armor piercing, and high velocity armor piercing shells. The default drum has a mix of armor piercing and high explosive ammunition. The high explosive drum has 3 high explosives and 1 AP shell in that order, and the high velocity armor piercing drum consists of only HVAP ammunition. The regular armor-piercing shell can penetrate 58mm at 10 meters and 44mm at 500 meters. The high-velocity armor-piercing shell can penetrate 77mm at 10 meters and 61mm at 500 meters. The base turret rotation is good with 42 degrees a second, and it tops out with a great 60 degrees a second with an aced crew. The vertical guidances are -7 degrees with restrictions, and I'll come back to that later, and a decent +80 degrees. Vehicle. The turret is mounted on the Panzer IV chassis, which has decent mobility and a top speed of 39 km an hour. Crew. The Zerstörer has a crew of 5, so there's a couple of guys extra to switch to when somebody falls asleep on the job, and they definitely will. Side skirts. You can opt to either have the minimal crew protection side skirts up or down, and they will add 10mm of armor protection towards the sides and rear for the crew. And I will also come back to that later. Artillery. Like all other SPAAGs, this vehicle has access to the artillery support modification. And some of the cons. Ammunition. The vehicle only has access to 350 shells total, and for 4 barrels that is not a lot. Ammunition storage. The ammunition is stored in the center of the hull and on top of the chassis, so it's very easy to ammo rack the vehicle with a single hit. And side skirts again. The side skirts can only be activated in the modification setup, so you have to decide before entering a battle if you want to make use of them or not. If you opt not to use the side skirts, the turret crew is completely exposed to anything deadlier than a gust of wind. The Zerstörer 45 is a rather odd vehicle. On paper the firepower it has is really good. In its primary role as an SPAAG, the Mk103 autocannons can destroy a plane from pretty far away if you manage to land a hit. The shells do not self-destruct like they do, for instance, on the 20mm autocannon we find on the Wirbelwind. The main drawback are the drum's ammo capacity and overall ammo count. It looks great when you see you have 120 shells available, but you have to count in that the 120 shells are being divided by 4 autocannons, which use them at the same time. That means you only have 30 shells per barrel before you run into a lengthy reload. You need to be consistently good with aiming in order to get the full benefit of the otherwise good cannons. The issue with the low ammo count can quickly become annoying. You basically need to wait until aircraft are close, much closer than the Mk103s are capable of bringing down aircraft with. This way you can get most out of the sparse 30 shells in the drums, but you will also increase the chance that you will be detected and killed. If you decide to split up the ammunition between armor piercing and high explosive, there's even less to play with. If you, for instance, prioritize HVAP, then there's just enough high explosive ammunition left to bring either a single reload or none at all. Pure AP ammunition is not the best to bring down aircraft with, and since the shells are solid with no high explosive filler, often multiple hits are needed to bring down an aircraft. You can alternatively bring only the default drum, which consists of regular AP and AC shells. You do miss out on the extra punch the HVAP shell brings, but will still be able to deal with some ground and all air targets. The plus 80 degrees of elevation sounds good, but if aircraft are somewhere close to you in the vertical, the 80 degrees are not enough. You need much distance horizontally in order to aim the cannons at them. Historically, the turret protection, or lack of it, is rather hazy, and also if there was even a single prototype Zerstörer ever completed. I've seen drawings and models made which claim that the turret was the same design as the turret on the Flakpanzer Wirbelwind and Ostwind, but a great source like Hilary Louise Doyle, who in the Panzertrack number 12-1, Flakpanzer 4 and other Flakpanzer projects, a book which I myself states, and here are some photos I took of the pages, so excuse the quality. Anyhow, he writes, discussions took place about rearming the Wirbelwind as a Zerstörer 45 with the same 3cm Mk103 in a fielding configuration, but nothing ever came out of this proposal. So the internets and Hilary Louise Doyle basically agree that the turret was supposed to be the same as on the Wirbelwind. So I don't know why Gardin just decided and went its own way, and decided to use side skirts to this vehicle as used on the Flakpanzer Möbelwagen and this test vehicle with quad 20mm cannons. Gardin can of course do whatever they want. I just wish they at least would have added the gun shield you can see here in both of the pictures on the original vehicles. So sadly they went with no proper turret, no gun shield, but just side skirts, which can only be used if you activate the modification before entering a battle. The side skirts furthermore provides no protection towards the front at all. Another drawback of the skirts is how you need to face the vehicle towards the enemy, since the height of the skirts prevent it from firing horizontally in any other direction but the front. There is also an issue with the depression of the autocannons. The stated -7 degrees is only available towards the front of the vehicle. Even when the side skirts are not in use, they are still high enough laid down to prevent any gun depression but maybe 1 degree minus. To rust the rear, the laid-down side skirt is even higher located than the ones to the side. So to rust the rear, you probably have a couple of degrees plus as a minimum gun depression. So all in all, if you decide to use the side skirts, be ready for a lot of work getting the vehicle into position before you can fire horizontally against the enemy. Is the hassle worth it to be able to survive some light machine gun fire from the sides and rear? I do not think so. The Zerstörer already has issues enough. No need to add to them voluntarily. In case you primarily use the Zerstörer as a tank destroyer, you will weapon-wise do fine with the 77mm of armor pen the HVAP shell can do at 10 meters, and even 61mm at 500 meters. The autocannons can vaporize an M18 in a second. There's even enough armor penetration to destroy medium and some heavy tanks from the sides from out to 500 meters away. The Panzer IV chassis tops out at 39 km an hour, and while that is nothing special, it can still bring the Zerstörer into a flanking position or onto a capture point before the enemy's heavy tanks are out of the gate. As a tank destroyer, the autocannons are best for flanking or flanking protection against pesky M18s and other light fast vehicles. Another good use is to stay behind the heavy tanks and assist them with either destroying barrels or swing around and attack the tanks from the side. All that being said, the Zerstörer definitely works best for more experienced players. It is not forgiving at all. On average, I think I managed maybe 2 or 3 tank kills if I used the Zerstörer as a tank destroyer with HVAP ammunition. And so far my maximum is 4 aircraft shot down in a single round if I just use the Zerstörer as an SPAAG with high explosive shells. If you have enough crew slots for it, I would suggest using this vehicle as a tank destroyer primarily, and then in a separate crew slot, bring in an anti-aircraft vehicle like the Wirbelwind as a pure SPAAG. I think that the Zerstörer 45 works okay if you consistently are able to apply the lead correctly to aircraft and are able to shoot in short bursts. If not, then the Zerstörer 45 is not a good SPAAG for you. So yay for the firepower and not so much yay as an SPAAG. But that was about it for my review. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember to deploy your dive brakes. Have a good one.